Yo, what's going on, y'all? This your man Marcus A. Brown once again, and today is Thursday, September 7th, 2017. And today I'm going to talk about my experience with getting a vasectomy. Occasionally, I get a few brothers reaching out to me for more information on that, so shout out to those of you who have. And in this video, I'm going to share my personal experiences with getting a vasectomy, before, afterwards, everything in between. And hopefully I can answer some questions that some of y'all may be having if you're considering it, or even if you're just curious to know what that experience is like. So let's start with the first question and the biggest question that I usually get, which is why? Why would you get a vasectomy? And I usually get that question coming more from the ladies than the fellas because it's reactionary, but it's a fair and legit question. Why would I get a vasectomy? And the short answer is because it's a very effective form of male birth control. Actually, if we talking birth control options for men, it's the most effective form of birth control besides abstinence. Okay, but to answer that question very clearly and concisely, I wanted the most effective form of male birth control available to me at that time, and it was a vasectomy. And seeing as how we're living in this new age of equality and social progress and sexual liberation, right? I don't go flying off the hook when a chick tells me she has an IUD or she has an implant or, any other form of female birth control. You know what I'm saying? Essentially, we're both doing the same thing and utilizing the most effective forms of birth control available to us. So, I don't see what the big deal is. Now, the second most common question that I get, and this always comes from the guys, they don't want to know how much it costs or can you get it reversed. Those are usually the questions that come after that. But the second most common question that guys ask me all the time is, do you still bust nuts with a vasectomy? And the answer is yes, bro. Yes, you bust nuts. It's the same. It looks the same. It feels the same. Listen, I've bust unlimited nuts since I've had this procedure. Some of y'all can ask your wives, some of y'all can ask your girlfriends. The only difference is there's no sperm in your semen, which is the fluid that carries the sperm. Okay, so y'all can relax. Like I said, yes, you can still ejaculate with a vasectomy and it looks and feels the same. There's just no sperm in the fluid that you're ejaculating, okay? And like I was saying before, some of the other questions that come after that is, how much does it cost? And the answer to that is, it depends. It depends on where you at, where you going, who you going to, what's your insurance like, what's your health like, what's the conditions of your dig, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of different factors that play a role in how much it costs, but if you Google it, it'll say roughly between $300 and $1,000, okay? Now, in my case, I got it done in my hometown, Chicago, Illinois, and in my case, ultimately, it did cost a stack. My insurance knocked $600 off of that, so I ended up paying $400 cash out of pocket. And if you ask me, I say it was a good investment. It was worth every penny. So I'm 100% satisfied. Moving on to the next question of reversals, that's a different story. Reversal is gonna cost you. Now, I don't even think that's covered by insurance, but you can look it up to verify yourself. But I know that reversals are very expensive. That could go anywhere from like $5,000, $7,000 and up. I don't know. I don't really have any interest in getting a reversal at this time. I don't think that I will, but ultimately you're going to have to talk with a doctor at the vasectomy clinic or a urologist to see what your options are in regards to reversals, because the vasectomy is cheap, but the reversal is a whole nother ball game. Now, just to give y'all a little backstory, just to give y'all the full MAB experience of life before the vasectomy, okay, I got my vasectomy at the age of 22, so I was really young. I was actually the youngest patient that the doctor who performed that procedure on me, I was his youngest patient that he's ever had, and the youngest patient with no kids. So, and I'm gonna come back to that part of the story. But before all that, going back to high school when I was like 17 or 18, a lot of my peers, a lot of my friends at that time, both male and female, they was just all having babies, bro. Like, they just popping out shorties left and right, or having like unplanned pregnancies and abortions and whatnot. And we talking like senior year of high school, or fresh out of high school, or freshman year of college. Like, some of these kids never even been outside of the city of Chicago, or never left the South Side. Some of them never had their first job before. So with all due respect, because I was cool with these people at the time, but if you ask me, none of us was really in position to be having children, let alone having children still living with family, still living with parents. You know what I'm saying? At least that was my perspective, and that's still my perspective to this day. I remember a lot of people at that age that showed so much potential to be great and do great things. And that's not to say that all of these people couldn't or didn't manage to continue to go on and do great things, but I got to see how all of this recklessness and all of this unplanned parenthood just instantly made everything much more difficult for them than it had to be. You know what I'm saying? Keep in mind, this is over a decade ago, so this is way before I knew anything about the red pill or MGTOW or the manosphere. I didn't know none of that. All I knew was I was afraid of having kids, or at least that's what I thought I was afraid of at the time. But for the people that I knew that was going through that, I didn't like what I was seeing them go through, first off. And secondly, even though I didn't know how to articulate this at the time, I didn't like that in regards to women becoming impregnated. Everybody's gonna pressure that guy to be a father, and ultimately it's gonna be his fault somehow that she's pregnant and decided to keep the baby. Any guy listening to this knows what I'm talking about. We hear it all the time. If you didn't want to be a father, you should have thought about that with the D or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You need to be more responsible. We hear the same arguments all the time, yet the female has no accountability. She got all the authority, but no accountability. And once I started seeing that, like, I ain't want no parts of it. I just didn't have no money. I was too young to get the vasectomy. I had to wait until I was in position to do it. But I digress. Fast forward a few years, I'm turning 21, I'm getting in truck driving school, and a lot of my guys are still out here knocking chicks up, and a lot of the chicks I knew was still getting knocked up. Some of these people I like on their second and third child, and I even had a few pregnancy scares by that time. Thank God I dodged those bullets, but in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking like, soon as I could get a vasectomy, I'm doing it. So it was around late 2006, I started doing my research on vasectomies, the pros and cons, the possible ramifications of it and everything. And I come across the doctor who would, in the future, perform my procedure. And on top of that, if I played my cards right, I would be coming out of truck driving school with my first full-time job with benefits. So I wouldn't have to deal with no type of petty intervention from my parents. This would be my own health insurance. So like, I had it all planned out, and I went to their location on the north side. I just wanted to introduce myself, try to get a consultation in, and I didn't even get to meet the doctor. Like, I saw the receptionist at the front desk, and she was like, "Wow, you here for a vasectomy? Okay, you look so young. You know what? Let's see what we can do. Why don't you look these pamphlets over and give us a call when you're ready to schedule a consultation?" That turned into the doctor's out of town or the doctor's in another city, and they gave me a bit of a runaround, but they finally scheduled me a consultation for February, bro. February 2007. So the big day comes, I show up to this consultation, finally get a chance to meet and greet with the doctor. We sit down, we chop it up. He goes over the same information, pretty much just explaining what a vasectomy is and how the procedure works. And during the consultation, he asked me like, "How old are you again?" And I'm 21. He asked me, "Are you married? Do you have any kids?" My answer to both is no. So he's like, "Hey man, hold on, stop the show, bro. So you're 21 years old, never been married, never had kids, and you want a vasectomy?" And then he's like, "Listen, let's just do this. Come back in 6 months, okay? That'll be enough time where you can really think this over. And if you still want to do it 6 months from now, we'll take it from there." Of course, I was a little salty. You know, I'm anxious. I'm trying to get it done. But I'm like, okay, cool, man. I'll come back in 6 months and we'll talk. 6 months later, though, y'all already know I'm back in the door like, "Hey, bruh, what's good, man? What's up with this snip? Let's get it, fam." I'm sitting up here smiling all hard. I know the man looking at me like, "What's to this dude?" Like, I could tell he was a little reluctant to do this follow-up, but at the same time, he didn't really want to turn me away either. So this time we had a much more detailed consultation where he actually sat down and wanted to get to know what is making me want this operation. Am I thinking all of this stuff through thoroughly and clearly? And he wanted to make sure that I understood that this is considered a permanent operation. I mean, sure, there is a such thing as reversals, and the success rate decreases the longer you have the vasectomy. But for the most part, this could be a permanent life decision. It's like a tattoo. Like, it ain't something you could just get one day and reverse it the next day. And it's no guarantee that you'll ever be the same if you try to reverse it. So we talked about that. We talked about his concern with my age, because a lot of his patients are older men, mostly married, or just, you know, guys who already have children. So of course he'll be much more comfortable performing that operation for them. And then he just asked me a bunch of hypotheticals like, "Okay, well, I see where you are in your life now. What if things change in the future? What if your goals change? Or what if you think you don't want children today, and sometime in the future you meet the young lady of your dreams and you really just want to start a family with her, and you can't give her children. She can't have your children because of a decision you made when you was young," and questions like that. So overall, it was a very thought-provoking, very fulfilling consultation for the both of us. And at the end of it, I still looked at him like, sir, these are just consequences that I will have to live with because I know what I want to do. And, no disrespect, but if you're not comfortable doing this, then I don't have a problem finding somebody else that will. So he ran the finesse game on me one more time. He said, listen, man, you 21, okay? Let's try one more 6 months. If you come back, it'll be a year. If you come back a year from now, you're a whole year older and you still feel the same way, then we'll go ahead and do it. And I knew he was sincere, but he knew I was sincere too. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, if this dude don't snip my balls in 6 months, we gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? But I knew at the end of the day, he had a really genuine concern. And low-key, that would have gave me another 6 months to get the bread together. So, all right, cool. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this conversation. But I'm gonna see you in 6 months. So now, it's been a whole year, a lot of phone calls, and 2 consultations later since I've been trying to get this done. I felt sure of myself before, but this time, I felt a lot more confident in my decision. I had a lot more time to think about it. I was ready financially. I was ready in regards to my insurance. And when I contacted the vasectomy clinic, they already knew what it was. So the doctor hit me right back and gave me a date, February 15th, 2008. This time, they had me show up to a different location, which was actually closer for me. It was downtown in the Loop area. So this was it. It was official. It was the day after Valentine's Day. And for what it's worth, I don't know, I just thought that was funny. But I showed up bright and early in the morning. It was in a big high-rise building right off the lakefront. So I went upstairs, checked in at the front desk. The doctor showed up to the front, asked me if I was ready. I'm like, yeah. No, I'm just playing. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this. So I followed him to the back, you know what I'm saying? He asked me if I got any last words. He ran through everything he was finna do, everything he needed me to do afterwards, and we just got straight to it. I remember that moment like it was yesterday, man. It just felt like a scene out of a superhero movie or something. This wasn't in a hospital or a big surgical center or any of those places that you would imagine when you hear the word clinic. What I signed up for was an in-office, no needle, no scalpel vasectomy. So the entire operation basically took place in this really nice, prestigious-looking corporate office with an operating table. And the whole thing took less than 30 minutes. So basically, I walked in this back office. I didn't drop my pants. I didn't drop my drawers. I'm laying on this operating table, looking at the ceiling, and it's this classical music playing in the background, something similar to what I got playing in the background of this video. And this man is fondling my balls trying to find the vas so he can perform this vasectomy. And they numb you up. So I'm numb. I can't feel nothing around my genital area. And like I said, it was less than 30 minutes. Got back dressed. And that was it. It was official. I now had a vasectomy. So they gave me the rest of that week to recover, and they scheduled me an appointment for a semen analysis test. And that was interesting to say the least. It's basically they offer you adult magazines of your choice. You go in this room so you can masturbate and leave them a sample of your semen so they can analyze it. And the objective is to make sure that your sperm count is 0 after the vasectomy. And once that's verified, you're good to go. And they recommend that you wait, I forgot if it's like 6 to 8 weeks. You just want to make sure that the vasectomy was a successful operation before you get out here doing you. So yeah, I finally got the vasectomy, and I've been living happily ever since. It'll be 10 years for me this upcoming February 15th, 2018. And so far, so good. I don't have any complaints, no discomfort, no accidental babies, and no regrets, no remorse. I mean, that's just me, though. Everybody's story is different, but as for me, I'm happy, I'm satisfied, and I did what I wanted to do. All right, y'all, so check it out. I'm almost done with this topic for today, but now that I got that long story out of the way, I can answer one more popular question. And of course, this is going to lead into another story. Or maybe two. We'll see how much time we get. So when we talk about vasectomies in the manosphere, a lot of times guys want to know, have I ever had any experiences with women coming up pregnant and trying to put the baby on me? And if so, how do I handle that situation? Do I let them know up front that I got a vasectomy, like before we start messing around? Or do I let them play their little game just to see how they're going to try to finesse me and then hit them with the papers at the last minute? So I'm going to put it like this. I've met other men with vasectomies, and we've had that conversation. And from what I've been hearing, like, everybody got their own way of approaching that type of situation. Me personally, if I'm going to have an intimate relationship with a female, I'm going to let her know everything up front. You know what I'm saying? That way there's no confusion, ain't no type of guilty conscience on my part. I can demand the same from her if it's anything I need to know about her. And I'm talking about it on the internet right now, so me having a vasectomy is not a secret. So if a chick come up pregnant, she knows there's a 99.9% chance that I am not the father. You feel me? So some guys take the opposite approach. They'll just let a chick hang herself because, their whole premise is if they know they got the vasectomy and she don't, they ain't worried about getting sperm jacked. They may be worried about getting burnt because STDs is always a concern, but if they know in the back of their mind they have a vasectomy, then they just use that leverage to sass the chick up and see what she about. Because if she out here just letting you hit raw and probably letting somebody else hit raw and she end up pregnant, she gonna place that baby on whoever she wanna place it on. So the guy with the vasectomy that doesn't announce it, he's kind of coming more from the angle of if shorty got the nerve to set me up, I'ma just sit back and watch her set herself up. But yeah, that actually has happened to me 2 times that I know of. And the reason I say that I know of, because, some chicks, they just come and go and come and go. You never really know why they disappear. But there's 2 instances that I know of where that has happened to me since I had my vasectomy. And I say it was a lifesaver. The first time was actually in one of the first relationships that I got into after getting the vasectomy. And me and old girl lasted maybe like a year and a half. Everything was good. Then we started breaking up, making up, breaking up, making up. After a while, we both was just out here ratchet. We was both messing around on each other during these breakups. So one week when we was getting along, I'm thinking it's finna be a good night. We just chilling. We ain't arguing. We laying down, you feel me? I'm all spooned up, cuddled up behind her, got my arm wrapped around, cuffing the titty from the front, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking I'm just gonna relax and cuff some titties and that's a good night to me, right? So I'm just holding the titties like I always do, you know what I'm saying? Then I'm like, hold on, something ain't right, man. These titties, they ain't really feeling the same, you know what I'm saying? What's going on with your titties, baby? So she instantly hop up talking about some, boy, ain't nothing wrong with my titties and you doing too much and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, whoa, baby, listen. I know this is your body and you know your body and all that. I get it. But these my favorite pair of titties. I know what your titties feel like, baby. Like, all jokes aside, I'm being for real right now. And you too young to have some breast cancer, so these ain't no tumors. Whatever this little lumpy milk gland, spongy feeling stuff is, you need to get that checked out, see what's to that. Whole time though, in the back of my mind, I'm already knowing what it is. But either she was in denial or she was trying to play me like some type of goofy. Either way, I knew I wasn't tweaking and she knew that I had a vasectomy. So yeah, you fucked up, right? Come to find out, she got pregnant by a guy who was already in a relationship with his baby mama that had their first kid on the way while he was messing around with her on the side. So it was crazy. And my ex ended up aborting the baby because I wasn't finna stick around for that. And oh boy ain't care. So that was the first jam I got out of thanks to my vasectomy. The second time, this happened with this chick I used to kick it with in the summer. And we wasn't in no relationship or nothing like that. She was just real cool. She was a single mother, but I'm telling you, bro, like she was cute in the face. She had a real nice body. I didn't have to deal with a shorty or nothing like that. We was just cool. She was my little drinking buddy, and we both worked a lot. So whenever we was off, if I had a bottle, I'd hit her up. If she had a babysitter, she'd hit me up, and we'd just link up and get slapped, bro. I'm talking about sloppy drunk, get something to eat, kick it by the lakefront, talk shit, get a room, play some music, vibe out, and we would just go at it all night or 2 nights until we had to go back to work, bro. I'm talking about, whew, good times, G. But yeah, man, that was my little buddy, G. Matter of fact, I'm finna look her ass up on Facebook. But anyway, that was our routine. We'll link up like every weekend, every other weekend, get drunk, mess around or whatever. Then I went on vacation. I had 3 days in Paris, 3 days in London. Alright, it was my first time across the Atlantic. I went by myself, had a good time. She may have been in her feelings about it a little bit, I don't know. Or maybe not. But I hit her line as soon as I touched down to the crib. Hey, what's good? We popping bottles tonight? We getting Italian Fiesta or something? What we doing? She, I don't know. I don't think I can get a babysitter tonight. But I'ma see what I can do and I'ma let you know before it get too late. And sent my ass clean off, but it's all good. Next weekend come up, I hit her up again. Now she wanna text all day instead of just calling me like she usually do. Say she can't drink, her stomach hurts, she just wanna stay at the house, blase, blase, blase. And after a while, I just let it go. I'm like, hey, it's whatever, I see her when I see her. And that's exactly what happened. A few months later, I saw her when I saw her, because I knew she worked at a store that I just so happened to need something from that day. And lo and behold, there she go, right in the front of the store at the register with this big old baby bump, G. Looking like she got a beach ball under her shirt. So she see me, she come from behind the register, give me a hug and everything, and she like, oh, I didn't even get to tell you that I was pregnant, so, yeah. And I'm looking at her with the side eye like, so that's what happened to your ass. Yeah, it's all good. But notice she didn't even come to me with this pregnancy thing. She just went missing. She went MIA. Because again, this was a female that already knew about my vasectomy. So I guess whatever happened, and she just never even came to me with that. So yeah, that's just a few examples of how having this vasectomy has literally saved my ass. Because I'm going to keep it honest with y'all. If it wasn't for me being fixed, man, I don't know how many little bastard kids I have running around here. Part of it is because I've been reckless, and the other part is because chicks be out here sperm jacking brothers. So we all got to be careful. But we going to end this right here for now because I done went way over my limit. Maybe I'll come back with some more story times a little later. As always, thanks for listening. Let me know what y'all think, and I'll holler at y'all in the comment section. Peace.